has been saying this week, the team gets really up for these, the home games and juices are flowing and they're, and then they start making mistakes. But I could see that the first couple of drives and then you kind of chill out and you get into the game a little bit, but it just seemed to happen all game long. You know what I mean? And it's just like, get out of our own way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely talked about tonight. That if the Aggies can win the penalty battle, the turnover battle, especially win the turnover battle and cut down the penalties, especially in big spots. I mean, that's what was crazy against Boise State and Air Force to a certain extent, is the penalties were horrible times, and really killed possession sometimes. But what other keys do you guys think for Friday night?
I think we've kind of hit on everything. You either got to keep it even or try and win the turnover battle. Time of possession really isn't a huge thing if you're putting points on the board. I mean, that's kind of become an overrated stat. Mm-hmm. Like we were just talking about the penalties, if we start creeping up towards double digits, we're going to be in trouble, because BYU is like one of the least penalized teams in the country, and so they're not going to shoot themselves in the foot. So we can't get coaxed into doing that. We kind of get caught retaliating, pushing and shoving. We got caught doing that last week late in the game. It's no secret that BYU likes to get under your skin. Dirty shot here and there. We get busted retaliating. It's not going to go well. That flag is going against us every time. So, like we were talking about just 10 minutes or so ago, run the ball effectively, do what we can defensively to slow the run. They're averaging, like I said, 4.7 yards per carry. We can knock that down to 3.5, limit their effectiveness on first down, and try and make them throw the ball a little bit more than they're more comfortable doing. Then that's gonna spell success for us. I think we'll end up having a pretty successful night. Let me backtrack offensively really quick. We need to be more effective on first down. We can't keep getting stuck in 2nd and 8 and 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 7. We need to try and shorten that up to where once we get beyond 2nd and 3rd down, we need a 3rd and 2 or a 3rd and 3. We're not slouches when it comes to the running game either. We average 4.4 yards per carry, and we can pick up the tough yardage when it needs to happen. We've proven that. We've been battle tested and won a couple of big games as far as Utah State is concerned, and we've come through in very, very, very clutch moments. Mm-hmm. So, we keep this close, we give ourselves a chance to win, and these guys have proven that they can do it.
Yeah, for sure. I personally think it'll come down to those little things, even throw special teams in there. Those little things. I think the Aggies can hang with BYU. Like we mentioned, there's some injury questions. I think there's some depth questions with BYU. So I think physically, I don't think it's going to be a mismatch by any means. No. I think it's going to come down to those little things, special teams, turnovers, penalties, that kind of thing, are really kind of the keys for me. Because I think everybody's going to get up for the game. Like I say, I think it wasn't in 2014 that really the Aggies didn't come into that game playing really well. They literally kind of scrapped everything and started over. Their offensive line was kind of a disappointment till that game. So you just never know. It's an in-state rivalry. It's an in-state game that I think anything could happen. So
Yeah, everything's going out the window.
yeah, I mean, just because BYU's ranked or whatever, it doesn't really matter when you put on the pads and start playing football. So yeah, that'll be my keys. Anything else to add, Seth?
So this is a true story. It has nothing to do with football. I did mention the other day on Twitter, just don't give them the time of day, the fans and all that stuff. So that was on Twitter. This is a podcast, so you're going to see this or whatever. But this is an actual thing that's happening at BYU right now. Okay. Now, if I offend anybody, deal with it. So there's always been workarounds when it's come to BYU students and guy and girlfriends and stuff like that. So like I had to look this up and it's actually legit. So their workaround now is a man and a woman are having relations, right? The man's not doing anything. The woman's not doing anything. He's just apart, they're together, if you know what I'm saying. And then they get a third person to jump on the bed to create and then it's not their fault because they're not the ones. Look it up. I don't know what it's called. My wife actually told me about it yesterday and we were laughing our heads off, and look it up. Like it doesn't sound real because there's just no way that can be true. If you need to take this out of the recording, go ahead and take it out of the recording. I don't care. But I'm just saying that, like I said, they're delusional. I don't know how they think the way they think, but yeah, I'm looking forward to a good game, man. That's all I'm saying. So I'm looking forward to a good game, good tailgate, good friends, good company, and we'll just see. That's why they play the game. I don't care if they're ranked. Bama's got to play. Just because they're first doesn't mean they get passes. Every week. So that's why you play the game and talk the crap and have the fun rivalry or whatever. But I just don't get. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I don't understand how they can say that they don't feel that we're rivals when the last 6 years it's what was it 4-2? No, 4-2, what has it been last
4 out of 6 or at least 3 out of 6, right?
3 out of 6, like what are we like 50-50 here in the last 6 years or something? But then they play the other team and they beat them once in a decade, and like every coach says, it's not a rivalry until you actually beat them. And
right,
a lot of those kids on BYU's team were 8 years old the last time they beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
8, 9, 10 years old the last time they beat
exactly.
Utah. So, I mean, that's what I said. They can think whatever, the players, the fans, they can think whatever they want to think. And my question to BYU fans, if you're listening to this, why are you dropping $200-300 on this game if it's not a rivalry game?
Yeah.
If it's just lowly Utah State, why are you dropping $200 or $300 a ticket, to go to the game? Because your love of the Cougs? I don't think so, because it's a rivalry game.
Yeah, I mean the Aggies have won 2 out of 3 years. 2 out of the last 3. So BYU can no longer say, oh, it has to be competitive, or oh, we own these guys and everything. Yeah, I mean in 2010 and 2011, they could definitely say they owned Utah State because it was like 10, 15 years practically that they didn't even really lose to Utah State. But it hasn't been one time in 20 years. Well, it was 96 or whenever it was, the 58-56 game. That was like sandwiched between 10 straight BYU wins, and then after that it was like 10 straight BYU wins. That 58-56 was an amazing win, but it was like one win.
I still have my ticket
years.
stubbed to that.
What's that?
I still have my ticket stubbed to that game.
I know. That was the greatest game of all time. But regardless, yeah, so it's a fun rivalry, fun game. Obviously, there are going to be some stupid BYU fans. There's going to be some dumb Aggie fans as well that get a little carried away. But it's a really fun in-state rivalry. I think maybe I'll go on this tangent for 2 minutes that we've got left, but I think it obviously will probably change in the next 10 years or whatever, but I think the biggest change will probably be to the BYU-Utah rivalry, not the Utah State BYU rivalry. And there's like this one guy on Twitter that's a huge BYU fan that for the last 10 years has been telling us that BYU shouldn't ever go to Logan and they should only play in Provo and blah, blah, blah. That's just not reality. You know, I think it's always going to be around. It's always going to be a rivalry, and it's I think it's fun for both sides. BYU has won in Logan. Utah State's won in Provo the last few years, and you know, same thing. What's so funny about that, Seth, is BYU fans want to laugh at Utah State like there's some laughing stock, but BYU has so many other things that are completely ridiculous that everyone in the world laughs at, you know.
We could have a whole podcast, a whole hour of just talking about that stuff. You know,
ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, and it's not good for my mental health.
Yeah.
Nah.
So.
Yeah, it's not
Brian,
even worth
I'd rather stay sane.
Yeah, I'd rather stay sane. Just not deal with it. You know, like the cow jokes. Oh, we got to go to Ogden to play the game, and it's like, I don't know. Yeah.
And I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, you know what? In some delusional BYU fans' heads, they think of Utah State just like we think of Weber State. And that's fine. They can think whatever they want, but that doesn't mean it should affect us or affect Aggie fans, or no one should even listen or worry about it because they're so completely delusional, just like the people that were tweeting about Frank Miley not getting the head coach position. And it's just not even worth replying.
It's like, don't reply because you're just feeding that cancer. You know what I mean? You're giving them exactly what they want. They just want reactions. They want likes on Twitter. They want, retweets.
That's the PSA that we're going to end with. Do not feed those trolls. Do not feed those BYU fans that think they're funny or think they're clever or think they're or want those likes and those interactions because they love it.
The crazy thing is some of them think they're right. That's what's scary.
Like Seth said, they've got some weird ideas in their head of how to have fun and how to.
I think it's called floating. I think I remembered. It's called floating. Look it up. I think it's
floating. I
don't think jumping on the bed's floating, but I think the other thing, because they're just floating, not doing anything, just there.
Boy.
But I don't know what the other jumping on the bed thing is called. But look it up if you want to. I'm not going to look it up. I'll take my wife's word for it.
Yeah.
So kids will be kids.
Sounds fun.
Kids will be kids.
I guess so. Like you say, there we could go on for hours about Provo, Utah, and Utah County, and whatever else we wanted to make fun of or laugh about or whatever. But anyway, hopefully after this game on Friday, it'll just be football and the results of the game that we'll be laughing about and not scratching our head like the last game against Boise State or frustrated or whatever. So let's hope for that. Let's hope for a good game, and we'll see how the Aggies stack up against the top 15, top 20 team, whatever team in the nation, and we'll move on from there. So thanks.